Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a beautiful day here in northern Nevada, and we have had absolute buckets of rain the last couple weeks, so the garden is going wild, which means I'm going to be out there weeding this weekend quite a bit. And I'm actually trying two new methods on the two main garden beds of weeding. On one, I actually sowed a cover crop, some red clover and some other things, to try and improve the soil, fix the nitrogen, and keep down the other weeds. And then on the other, I'm using a technique that Beth Twist told me about, because I got to see her garden. And she just cuts when, you cut herbs or anything, cut them back, need to encourage growth, or have an extra bit of the plant that you're not using, just to kind of lay it down there and let it form in a more natural way layers of nutrients that are going back into the soil. So I'm trying both of those to see which one works better for us, but before I get fully into that, I have to get rid of all of the things that sprouted there while we were being lax and sprung up in response to all this great rain. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. On, though, for the moment, to stitching in action. We have great submissions this time. First off, Rabbit Parade, stitched by Jane, and I love this. She actually left all of the rabbit ears off of the non-bunny animals so that she could leave it out all year round. So thank you, Jane. I think it came out beautifully, and I'm glad you're going to display it all year. I hope you enjoyed it. Next up, we have Tall Treat. This was the ornament from last year's Jingle Ball, and Anne stitched this one up. She did a great job finishing with that cording around the edge, and I love the way it is done as an ornament with that loop of cord on the top and nice and flat. I have never learned to do those flat finishes, so I would really like to, but thank you so much, Anne, for sharing that. Finally, Rebecca is marching through Greyhound Year, and she's doing these as a tribute to her greyhound, Seamus. So all of the greyhounds are done in the same colors, which is, let me look at this, Gentle Art, Cast Iron Skillet, and Classic Colorworks Thundercloud. And she used a different fabric for each month. Let's see, April is 25 count Blush Lugana, May is 25 count Maize Lugana, and June is 25 count Wedgwood Lugana. I haven't stitched on Lugana before. I'll look forward to trying that. What I particularly love about all of her finishes is the way she puts buttons in, and you can definitely see on May the way that those buttons are just in place of the flowers, but the other ones as well. I love the bright colors for these summer months, so I really, really appreciate you sharing these, Rebecca. It's wonderful to see them being done as a personal tribute to Seamus, so thank you for sharing. As always, if you've been stitching a blue flower design, I would love to see it, and I will put them up on the website on the Stitching in Action page, so you can look at what other people have done as well and have some inspiration for yourself. All right, what I'm stitching. Still working on the big DMC Greyhound Sampler. Here's the original version, and I'll put in a photograph of where I am. I've finished the center panel completely, and I've made it just about to the bottom corner where it turns on both sides. The bottom corner turns right under Mosaic's name, and so it'll be just that section of bottom border left to do, and then the little metallic thread embellishments all around the edges. I put some in the top corner. Let's see, you can see right there. Those little things that are meant to be beads, but I'm just doing Algerian crosses or Smyrna crosses with metallic thread. So that will be the last thing I do, but it's coming along, not much longer on this one. And I know last video I talked about what I was going to stitch next, and several of you had great suggestions for me. I've ordered a few printed copies, but I also went and got a few downloads. So for Stash Spotlight, I'm going to show some of those. First one is one that I hadn't seen before, but some people mentioned Twin Peak Primitives did this great set, and this is just available in download, so apologies for the picture. But it's a set of 3 greyhounds in different holiday regalia. Let's see if we can get that to show properly there. And the set, when you buy it, contributes to the Greyhound Pets of America Nashville. We got our very first greyhound from Greyhound Pets of America, Oregon. Or no, I think it was Pacific Northwest at that time. But it was the local greyhound rescue for us. And so always a soft spot in my heart for them. But these are so fun. I'm really looking forward to doing them. I'm not sure it'll be next, but it is definitely going in the rotation, so I can't wait for those. The other online download that I got pertaining to greyhounds is this one, The Hound and the Hare from Modern Folk Embroidery. And often I found when I look at like older art, just vintage thrift store things of artworks and paintings with greyhounds, pottery, whatever, I always keep an eye out. And very often it will show the greyhound and a dead animal that it's been hunting, which it just isn't really thrilling for me. It's not something I like to look at, but I don't mind this one with them chasing, because I know that in our neighborhood particularly, the dogs would absolutely love to chase the rabbits and would have no shot at catching them, because the rabbits have so many spaces that they can get through fences and under things where the dogs just can't follow. So I think I will stitch this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the whole thing or if it's going to be next, but it's, again, definitely in the rotation. Now, since I was at Jacob's site, I did buy a few more things for downloads. The first is the Yule cat, which, oh, I love that. His face. I'm not sure it feels Yule-like to me, but maybe if I did it in different colors. Actually, I would love to do it with like metallic star accents in that cat and some snowflakes. That'd be fun. And then just that awesome face. So that one I'm looking forward to. I picked up the Move Forward in Love because I hadn't bought that one yet, so definitely want to have that available. And then my big splurge for that one is this. Now this is a big project. One of the things I really like about it is that it's set up and it gives you the instructions for two different options. One where, in this case, the blue is just the fabric and you're stitching white or cream onto it. And one done the other way where the cream would be the fabric and you would be stitching the blue. I don't think I'll do it that way. I think I'll do it with stitching the actual designs and not the negative space. And I doubt that I would do it in one color. I would probably stitch all of the different things in different colors around, different flowers in different colors, the birds, all of that. But I love that. Not this year, but perhaps next year, definitely in the future. That's one that I'm looking forward to. Having done Stash Spotlight, now the world around, this video is something called a monkey puzzle tree or a Chilean pine tree. This is, I think, even on the flag of Chile, but a very important tree in Chile, and does really well actually up most of the west coast. It likes to live at higher elevations, which is great for us, traditionally on the sides of volcanoes. And the thing that makes the monkey puzzle so interesting, I'll put in a close-up of the branches. The leaves are these like thorny scales. Well, not thorny, just spiny, scaly, very tough. And that's where it gets its Western name, the monkey puzzle, because one of the earlier trees that was brought back to Europe, someone looked at it and said, oh, it would puzzle a monkey to try and climb that. So that's the name for it. But it's such an interesting tree. The bark is very fire resistant, and living on, as it does on the sides of volcanoes, it can actually even resist lava flows. However, it will burn in a forest fire if the temperature gets high enough, because the leaves are so full of, I think, oil and resin, that kind of thing. And so it will burn. It's lost a lot of habitat and been lost to forest fires. So it's an endangered tree. And we're thinking of putting one in our yard here because I love them. I first saw one in Portland, and they are dotted throughout Portland randomly because in 1905, the city of Portland hosted the World's Fair, the Lewis and Clark Centennial Exhibition, whatever the proper name is. But the delegation from Chile, who had their booth, gave out seedling monkey puzzle trees to visitors. And several of those trees still exist in the city of Portland. They're by no means the oldest monkey puzzles, but they became popular. And so different people started putting them in. There was one that we used to pass walking my son to school, and I love to look at it. They can live a very long time, over 1,000 years, and get quite tall, although not redwood tall, more, 100 meters tall, 150 meters, that kind of thing. But very interesting trees, very unique. I'm hoping that we can put one in our yard. We're good on temperature and we're good on elevation. We might potentially lose it if it gets extraordinarily cold here, but that's always a risk that you take. So yeah, it's such an interesting tree. I really would like to have one. And if you ever get a chance to take a look at them, they're really fascinating. Some of the sources looked at said that this tree essentially hasn't changed since the time of the dinosaurs, and that those spiny leaves were meant to deter dinosaurs from eating the plants, but that it was so successful, like a shark, it's essentially been the same ever since. So that's the world around the monkey puzzle tree. If we get one in the yard, I will definitely keep you posted on how it's doing. Questions. Last video I asked about picnic food suggestions, and thank you all for the great ideas. I'm looking forward to using those. And the question this video is, do you have a favorite garden tool? Since I'm going to be out there, I'm really thinking about garden tools a lot. I have a couple. One maybe is silly, but I have one of those wand attachments to the garden hose with all the different settings so that you can water your plants easily, and I love it. I love it. It's great. If I need to rinse something off, if I need to water a pot high over my head, whatever it is, I love that. And then I just bought for the first time a garden trowel from a blacksmith, and it's very sharp on the edges and very narrow, so it's really good for digging in our soil here, which has a lot of rocks and tends to be very hard and compact. And so I'm really loving it. I've never had a proper blacksmith garden tool before, so I'm trying to take very good care of it and make sure I clean it after every use and oil it at the end of the season. So we'll see how that goes. But I was just wondering for you, any tools that are your favorites that you find most useful, whatever it is, I'd love to hear about it. Best thing, this video, Dougal has been doing, he's our little dachshund mix. He's been doing really well lately. He's quite old, but he has times where his back hurts and his legs hurt. He's been on a really good kick, which means he's had a lot of extra energy, and he's been wrestling with Rye a lot, which she absolutely loves. So you'll notice in the puppy video, we're really enjoying that, and we got quite a bit of good footage of them just playing the way they used to when they were both younger, and certainly she was smaller. So that's been really fun to see. I know we don't have unlimited years with him, but it's been nice to see him looking so much more comfortable. All right, giveaway. Last video, we were giving away this wonderful Twitching Noses chart from Mojo Stitches. Look at that with those beautiful bunnies. Using the word bunny in the comments, and the winner, and apologies if I pronounce this wrong, is Terry Sturdivant. So Terry, drop me a message, let me know your mailing address, and I will get that out to you. This week for giveaway, I have a beautiful piece of 40 count. It's called Frosted Lilac. Let's see if we can get a better. There we go. It does look, it's a pale purple lilac color. It's awfully hard to show, I apologize, but lovely linen from Forbidden Fiber. I was thinking of lilacs, as I always am, but we just recently cut off all the spent blooms to prepare it for next year. So that's on my mind. But if you would like to win this piece of fabric and stitch something wonderful on it, go ahead and use the word lilac in your comments, and I will pick a winner for the next video to get that out to you. That's it for me. We've got puppy video now, and I'm off to go pull the wrong plants out of the garden so that the right plants can grow, which is entirely arbitrary, but we all do it. So that's it for me. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Talk to you later. Bye.